Thank you for joining me today. My name is Carrie Waltz. I share tips, tools, and techniques for artists in you. Today, I'm going to share with you something that makes creating convenient. I can do it on a daily basis. It can weigh less than 2 pounds. You can plein air paint and not have to haul a bunch of things. And it is precious to my family. Of all the things that I have made in my art creations, this is what my children treasure. If something like that would interest you, please watch this video. What I'm talking about is watercolor journaling. And before you say, no, I'm not a watercolor artist, I wasn't either when I started. This is my current setup, and I have it on my little kitchen scale. So you can see it's actually less than a pound, almost a pound. And when I went on my trip, I was using a larger journal, and it's still less than 2 pounds. But I traveled with this in my backpack or in my purse. Normally when it's my purse, this is all I carry. But when I'm in the Smokies, this journal is designated for the Smokies, so I wanted to have that with me all the time. And when I can make creating convenient, I can do it on a daily basis. I don't have to haul a bunch of stuff. I'm not weighted down. I'm going to show you how quickly I can pull out what I need to set up for plein air painting. I just usually have this in my lap. I don't have a table, and I want something that's convenient enough for me to quickly get started. So I need a paper towel, my paint, a brush. I have these clips that you'll see what I use in a minute. Open up my journal to the next page. It's already marked, and I'll show you why and how I do that in a minute. Clip 1, 2, 3, and secure my paper towel. Less than a minute, I am ready to go. So I can look at what I'm wanting to paint it, wipe off the brush, mix a color, paint it, wipe off the brush, mix a color. Less than a minute, I can get set up and paint. And I'm holding this like, in my lap or with my hand. If you have a table, that's even easier, but it doesn't keep you from painting anywhere. I often paint sitting on a rock or on the ground. So now let me explain all that I have in this kit. Water brush is essential. This is my absolute favorite tool. If I could only have one brush in the world, I think this would be it. It carries the water in it. This one is Pentel. It is a large Pentel brush. You can see that nice point. So if you want to make a tiny line, you barely touch. If you want to make a heavier line, you press down more. I've made my own palettes. This is a limited palette. If I only have one limited palette, this would be it. These are Daniel Smith colors, or 3 of them are. A Hansa yellow, red, and I'll list the colors later. But your 3 primary plus burnt sienna, because burnt sienna plus ultramarine blue makes a really good dark. And then these are my convenience colors, or another type of primary. So there's a red, a yellow, and a blue, but they're different reds and yellows and blues that are more intense. And then I have dioxazine purple as a convenient color. So when I have these 8 colors, I can do so much with making whatever color I want. But I'll tell you what, the thing that is so precious to me about this whole thing, and I know I said I'd show you what was in here, but I didn't want you to miss this part. It's when my daughters look at my work, and whether it's the paintings, the drawings, pastel, oil, acrylic, I've done all of that. Whatever they look at, my journals are what they want. If I left this earth and was no more, they want my journals. It's a living history. It's things that I've experienced. And when they express to me that, my mom, this is what we want, this is what we're interested in. Not that I'm not sick or anything. It's just, it was a conversation we were having. That made me even want to journal more. So when you can make it convenient, it's less than 2 pounds, and it's special and important to those around you, why not do it? It also is very, very therapeutic for me. My family knows that if I don't create almost on a daily basis, I'm not as nice to be around. I just get a little short, and I don't mean to do that. That's just me. I need a creative outlet, and it can be cooking, but this is much more enjoyable when I'm traveling. Okay, so this is what's in my kit. I have a mechanical pencil for drawing first, if you want to. And some of the things that I've done, I do draw first. one of the things, especially in this last trip, I wanted to draw the flowers. So I used my pencil to draw first. I painted it. Then I came over with this teeny tiny pen, this 005, and I did the tiny line work. So that's why I have the tiny pen, and that's why I have the pencil to draw first. It's also, if you want to do lettering like here, I always do it in pencil first. And then if I want to show it to write, I usually use my Uniball I, which is a waterproof pen. And it's a heavier pen. So this is the delicate line pen, and this is the heavier pen. So I'll write that with the heavier pen, so it shows up better. Another kind of pen I have is a white gel pen. Traditional watercolors saves the white, and the white of the paper is the watercolor. Well, I use this gel pen to add the white trunks, or the very, very pale gray trunks. If you don't want it as white as the gel pen, then you hit it with your water brush. Oh, you hit it with the point of your water brush right after you write it down, and then it blurs a little bit and lightens up. It's not as white. So a gel pen is helpful for that. Also, if you make a mess, even though I write my lettering in pencil first, sometimes even when I'm tracing my own work, I mess up. For example, right here, I went a little too high on that S, and it's not that big a deal, but this is just a way I can show you. I take the gel pen and ta-da, all better. So I let that dry and all is good. So it corrects the lettering. If you misspell something, you can usually cover it up. And it gives you highlights that you weren't able to save with watercolor. I think that was all about in this one. So the water brush, of course, I keep the water in it. And anytime you take off the lid, be sure to put it on the back, because you do not want to lose that. You don't want to mess up the point of your brush. When I'm traveling, if I go through a lot of paint I forgot to fill it up before I left for the day, I keep a pipette with me so that I can go to my water bottle that I always carry when I'm hiking or out. I usually always have a water bottle because you want to stay hydrated. You just use this, suck up your water from your water bottle, and then squeeze it into here. It's so much easier than trying to have to find a spigot or faucet when you're out and about. So carry that with me. My 2 pens. I have a elegant writer, which is a marker. If I want a lot of dark writing or calligraphy writing, I can use it for calligraphy, but it's also a fun tool for painting. And I have a very small spritz water bottle. I use that sometimes to just spritz my paints so that they're not starting off totally dry. I don't use it very often, but I just love the fact it's so convenient. So that is what is in my travel case. Oh, I also have one more extra little carrier. If I see something that I want to mix a color and I want more spaces than that, or I want to keep a color separate, that is just I can make a separate mixing from there. So very, very simple, but so versatile, so convenient. It allows me to create on the go every day if I want to. When I go traveling with others and they are not artists, then you don't want to take too much time with your painting. So I sometimes paint in here smaller. This particular one I did on plein air. Brad and I hiked to the Abram Falls in the Great Smoky Mountains. It's off of Cades Cove Loop Road. And you can see where I used a little bit of the gel pen here, well, to capture a little bit, some of the whites and some of the spray I created with that. Oh, here's another thing you can use the white gel pen for, is writing on colored paint. A small amount of gouache is something I always like to carry with me, because there's times where, oh, I need a little more opaqueness. I needed to make this white a little brighter. I hadn't made the blue bright enough. Even when I put the white gouache, I really realized I needed to make the blue brighter, so I went back and did that. But that's also another trick of the trade. So all of this fits in my little travel case, my magnets, my baby palettes, and there's so many palettes that you can buy. I have a collection of them. Actually, I've kind of gotten obsessed with collecting watercolor palettes. They're so cute and so fun. But those, oh, that doesn't go in there. Those I made myself. They were the colors I wanted. And here we go. This was a Smoky Mountain journal. Only Smoky Mountain entries are in here. So that's why I had 2 journals on that trip. I hope this was helpful. I hope it encourages you to give it a try. Go get a water brush, see what it does. I have other videos on how to paint with a water brush, and I'm going to do some more because that seems to be an interest. And I didn't video any of these, but because I was on location. But I think it might be something you'd be interested in, and you don't realize what it's going to help. Oh my gosh. I mean, for example, just sketching people, getting the proportion right, finding the lights versus the shadows, light versus shadows. Again, this was an overcast day, and keeping that separate. Dappled light, pattern of light, gouache is great for that. I just could go on and on. Sorry, I'm going to have to make more videos. Too much to say. I forgot to tell you why I do this. It protects the page I'm not using. And so when I'm working with the palettes that are clipped to this, it'll not get this page dirty. This is a freezer sheet where the treated side, the slick side, is on the outside. The inside has no waxy residue. I used to use wax paper, but it kind of is waxy on both sides, and then the clips would clip down so tight that it would leave a little imprint on the paper with wax. You couldn't see it, but when I painted, then I would have wax resist. So I've shifted to a freezer page, and I just made it big enough to slide over one page, and then I clamped down my clips so that this page is protected. It's a great way to take care of your pages that you're not painting yet. Hope that helps too.